Why are y'all laughing?
He'll work forever if he wants to.
Because God doesn't get tired.
Or else he would have given up on us by now.
Oh, Lord, no. Why does it say he rested then?
To enjoy the fruit of his labor.
Yes.
And want to be in communion.
Keep going.
He wanted to be with us.
Yes.
Sure question.
But why did he say he rested? Why?
Sabbath was made for man.
Yes. God doesn't get tired like we get tired, so why does it say he rested?
It's complete. He completely worked.
He's giving us an example.
That's it. He's giving us a model to follow. Do what I do. I work for 6 days and then I stop. Not because I'm tired or I need a vacation. But you do. You get tired. You need the rest. And you need one day to focus on worship. You're not going to be like the pagans who just work their way through everything and they don't pay God no never mind. You see that? It's not that God gets tired. He's setting us up a model to follow. I work for 6 days and rest. You work for 6 days and rest. By the way, does that resting still count for us today?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, do we have to be circumspect of it? Like, I picked this up. I worked on Sunday. I understand. I got to go to confession. No. She said it best. Say it again.
Sabbath was made for man.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jesus said the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was meant for you. Rest. Do your other menial chores and stuff like that on the other days. On Sunday, focus on family and worship. Spending time with Jesus. Read the scriptures a little bit more. Pray an extra rosary. Do something like that. Take the time. Don't make more busy out of it. Just enjoy the day and focus it a little bit more on God. That's the essence. That's the spirit of the law. Okay? Well, what if I have to feed my family to make ends meet? I have to work on Sunday. You understand that. You still need to attend Mass. And maybe try to find some work that doesn't take you away so much. Your duties and your obligation are to your family. And if you need to do that, then by all means do so. But reevaluate. Do we really need that extra car, that extra this, that extra? That's why I'm working myself to death 7 days a week. Maybe not. Pull back. Take one day and just relax and be with the people that you love. That's the message of the Sabbath. And we do it on Sunday. Does that violate the Sabbath? Oh, we're breaking the commandment because Sabbath was on Saturday, y'all said. Why are we worshiping on Sunday?
New creation.
It's the new creation. This Sabbath was in honor of the old creation. And God modeled that by describing the old creation. How was the universe created? How many days? 6. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the old creation. Well, what's the new creation? And what did he do? What did he purchase for us? Redemption. Those are the two major themes in the Bible. The Old Testament's about old creation, the creation. The New Testament's about redemption, and it has come. Now keep that in mind. When you go back to Revelation 4 and 5, Revelation 4, you see this imagery of the rainbow, the 24 elders, the holy, 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 and the praise of the worshipers around the throne is all about creation. For you created all things, and by your will they existed and were created. I propose to you that chapter 4 is the liturgy of creation. What you see here in Revelation 4 the liturgy to creation. Because of the imagery, the rainbow and the worship with the cherubim and the holy, holy, holy. This is all Old Testament imagery. All of it. Okay? Now, without keeping you in suspense, what do you think chapter 5 is going to be? What's the second big theme?
Redemption.
Redemption. It's the same throne room scene, but if you will, with a twist. We go from worshiping God as creator to worshiping God as redeemer of humanity. So, here we go. We're about to launch into chapter 5. Hold on to your seats. Chapter 5, verse 1. And I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll. So now we move from this scene to this scene. Written within and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break the seals?" Are you?
I hope.
Yeah. How about you? You? No one in heaven or on earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look in it. And I wept much that there was no one found worthy to open the scroll or to look in it. Then one of the elders, which elders?
What are the 24?
The one that are the 24 around the throne. Good. Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has conquered so that he can open the scroll and its 7 seals. Who is that?
Jesus.
That's right. And between the throne and the 4 living creatures and among the elders I saw a lamb standing as though it had been slain, with 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God. There's that 7 spirits of God again. What were they in the first vision? What were they imaged as? Lamps, torches. And we went over that imagery last week, remember? That imagery of the lamp and the torch, that goes back to the cherubim of the garden, the flaming, smoking pot that walked through the pieces of Abraham, the smoke and thunder on Mount Sinai, the fire that came out of the temple to kill the unfaithful priests, the fire that fell from heaven in Elijah. Remember all of that? Okay? Now that same image is shifted, and we see 7 eyes and 7 horns on the Lamb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into the earth. And he went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who was seated on the throne. And when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Here's another clue. Jesus' main title in the book of Revelation is the Lamb. There is no other book in the New Testament in which Jesus is more mentioned as the Lamb of God than in the book of Revelation. And here we're seeing it come up. He is the Lamb that looked like he had been slain. The 4 living fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and with a golden bowl full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. They sang a new song. Now, you remember the song that they sung before?
Sanctus.
Worthy are you, worthy are you, O Lord, receive power, for you created all things. They were praising God about
Creation.
Now listen to their song when they're before the Lamb. Worthy are you, so we're back to worthy, to take the scroll and open its seals, for you were slain, and by your blood you ransomed men for God. One could also say redeemed men for God. See the shift? From every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made them a kingdom and priests to our God, and they shall reign on earth. This is the hymn to redemption. Then I looked, and I heard around the throne the four living creatures and the elders, and the voice of many angels, numbering myriads and thousands, saying, Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power and wealth and wisdom and might and honor and glory and blessing. And I heard every creature in heaven and on the earth and under the earth and in the sea, and all therein saying, To him who sits upon the throne and to the Lamb be blessing and honor and glory and might forever. And the four living creatures said, Amen. And the elders fell down and worshipped. The big picture takeaway I want you to get out of Revelation 4 and 5 is this. Revelation 4 is the liturgy or the worship of God of creation. If you will, this is in honor of the Old Testament. This, in chapter 5, is the liturgy of God for redemption, or if you will, the New Testament. And our Bibles are divided how? Old Testament, New Testament. What's the Old Testament about? Creation, the patriarchs, the deliverance from Egypt, the kingdom, Israel, all of that, the prophets, etc. Then what happens with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? The new covenant with Jesus. The focus of salvation history. So what we see here in these two throne room visions is the worship of God for creation and the worship of the Lamb of redemption. And that's what's going on in heaven. So it's both testaments happening. It's the summation of all of that. And just a by the way, when we say it's the Old Testament, what does testament mean? What would be another word for testament?
A witness.
Testimony?
Yes. If I leave my last will in testament, what am I leaving?
Oh, your direct orders.
A covenant, that's right. It's my will. And I'm willing all my worldly possessions to St. Charles. Right? So it's a will, it's a covenant, it's a promise that will happen after I die, right? Because it doesn't go into effect after that. Testament, why do we call it the Old Testament, New Testament? A better word would be covenant. Old covenant, new covenant. Why do we call it a testament? Because testament is a Latinate word. It's a Latin word, testamentum, where we get the word testament from. But it's really derived from the word that we get for covenant. It's really the Old Covenant, New Covenant. And that's what we're seeing here in the book of Revelation. It's the worship of the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. Let's see if I can do this in 5 minutes. Let's see if we can break records. Break records. We went over granularly what are some of the images in chapter 4. We went through them pretty thoroughly. What about chapter 5? Well, the first image that we get is this scroll, right? This scroll, this becomes a big deal. Who can open the scroll?
Jesus.
Only Jesus. What happened before we realized it was Jesus that could open it?
No one can do
No
it.
one could open it. No one is worthy to open it. No one in heaven? How about an angel?
Nope.
No. No one in heaven, no one on earth, no one under the earth or in the sea could open that scroll. So the question has been asked. What is this scroll? What is it? Well, what do we know about it? Well, it's sealed.
It's a covenant document.
It's, why would you say that? What gives you a clue?
Scroll.
It's a scroll.
7 seals.
It has how many seals on it?
Seals.
7.
7. What's the number 7 mean?
Covenant.
It's a covenant. See, these numbers are become very significant because they're symbolic. Everything in heaven is symbolic. So 7 seals to cover this scroll. Now, it is also written in front and back. Notice that? Remember that? Look, it said it is written within and on the back. So the question is, was there something in the Old Testament that was written on the front and the back? The 10 Commandments. Ezekiel 32:12. I'm sorry, Ezekiel 32:15. So this is after the golden calf incident, and then it says, verse 15, and Moses turned and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of the covenant in his hands. So picture Charlton Heston there, right? Right?
Yep.
The 2 tables of the covenant in his hands, tables that were written on both sides. Did you catch that? The old covenant was written how? On both sides of the tables. On one side and on the other were they written. The tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God graven upon tables. Got it? That was the old covenant. Right? Is there any other evidence for this thing being written on the front and the back? Turn to